Knicks family, what's poppin' is your boy. And I'm sure you've already heard the news. So we're not going to report new news to you. But we're going to discuss why I think it's a smart move that the Knicks kept Scott Perry as a GM. I think it's a really smart move. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that disagree, and that's fine. You know, some people want to just, kind of start over, start new, start fresh. But Scott Perry didn't do a terrible job as a GM. But anyway, let's take a listen to Ian Begley on a report of Scott Perry remaining as the GM of the New York Knicks for at least a year. So basically what happened, ladies and gentlemen, as I adjust the bucket, basically what happened is the Knicks had an option of whether or not to, I don't want to say extend Scott Perry, but to keep Scott Perry as the GM because his contract had an option, right? Both sides, both Scott Perry and the team could have opted in or opted out. They both decided to opt in for at least one more year, and then Leon Rose will make a decision from there. Let's take a listen to my man, trustworthy source, Ian Begley, folks, and then we'll get into a discussion for about 20 minutes, and then we'll pop over to a new stream that I want you all to be on as we break down some draft prospects. So let's get with it, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ian Begley.
Leon Rose made a significant hire on Wednesday, adding Scott Perry officially as his GM and signing Perry to a one-year deal for 2020-2021. Some people might look at this as a lame duck situation for Perry, but I think if things go well for the Knicks this offseason and next year, you could see Perry and Rose having a more long-term partnership. Perry and Rose have a long-standing relationship here, having worked together a lot, with Perry as an executive with several teams and Rose in his role as a top agent at CAA. Actually, they worked together closely to get the trade done that sent Carmelo Anthony from New York to Oklahoma City, so the two men know each other well. But I think some people around the league were surprised by this because they thought that Rose would go outside the organization to bring in his GM, but I know that Rose had leaned heavily on Perry since he took over in early March as team president, so it makes sense to extend that partnership now prior to the draft, and given all the uncertainty around the league amid the coronavirus crisis. So now Rose has added Brock Allard, retained Perry. I think Allen Houston remains a candidate to be with the organization under Rose going forward, and we'll see what he does with the rest of the front office. But this Perry retention on Wednesday doesn't necessarily mean anything one way or the other for the other front office members that were with Mills and Perry, who Rose now has to decide on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ian Begley from SNY TV giving us a report of Scott Perry remaining as a GM. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not lying to you. I never thought that Scott Perry was going to be out of the organization. I honestly felt like he would remain the GM. And you can go back and check some videos a long time ago where I said, I felt like he had a really, really, really good chance of remaining the GM. Reports came out that, Leon Rose was going to look to move him. I still felt that he would remain in the organization in some capacity. Look, I think it's a good idea. Here's why. One, he's done a good job managing the cap. When you look at our cap situation, we're in a good spot. We're in a good position. We have contracts that we can get rid of this offseason. If we choose to, we can get rid of those contracts easily. All we got to do is waive them by June 28th. All right. There's one big contract. That's Julius Randle. $19 million is what Julius Randle is making this season. All right. The Knicks can waive Julius Randle next year, June 28th of next season, if they want to get rid of Julius Randle. All right, so his contract, it's not like Julius Randle's contract is not tradable. And excuse me as I try to get my focus right. There we go. It's not like his contract is not tradable if the Knicks don't feel like he benefits them. So he did a good job with the cap. He's also, in my opinion, has been a picture of balance, I think. Now, of course, people will point to, the interview where he and Steve Mills hijacked the post-game interview. I think there was more James Dolan and Steve Mills than it was Scott Perry. Scott Perry barely even spoke in the interview. All right, I think he's been an example of balance. I do think he is a balanced guy, a level-headed guy, and someone who is able to think through processes. Leon Rose, to me, strikes me as the same type of person. So I do feel like they could work well together. And you did hear Ian Begley say that they've had history with each other in working with clients, specifically Carmelo Anthony. I also think that Scott Perry is a good guy to have around for Leon Rose because Leon Rose is inexperienced when it comes to running an organization. Scott Perry, he's never been the top guy, but he's been with Orlando. He's been with Detroit. He's been with Sacramento. Of course, he's with the New York Knicks. He's been part of running organizations. Now, the knock on him would be none of those organizations besides Detroit was a winning organization. Not Orlando, not Sacramento, and obviously not the New York Knicks. But Scott Perry, in the role where he is right now, Leon Rose is the one who's expected to turn the team around to be a winner. Scott Perry is going to be expected to, I believe, help Leon Rose with some of the ins and outs of the business on this side of the ball. Leon Rose understands it on one side of the ball, not exactly on this side of the ball. And I think that's where Leon Rose is going to come in. That's where Scott Perry is going to come in assisting Leon Rose on this side of the ball, as well as with scouting. I believe that the Knicks have done a good job scouting players over the past few years. I think most people would agree with that. Mitchell Robinson, Alonzo Trier, Ignaz Brazdeikis. We'll still see what happens with Iggy, but most people believe that he was a good, you don't want to say fine, but the Knicks did a good job drafting Iggy. Right? So I think they've done a good job. Scott Perry's been in charge of the scouting department. He'll likely remain in charge of that scouting department. So I think it's a good move. And then, because there's going to be a lot of upheaval in the front office, right? Scott Perry is going to be the mainstay right now. Maybe Allen Houston. And everyone else is going to be moved, gone. When a new coach comes in, if a new coach comes in, some people might believe that this means Mike Miller's going to stay. We'll hear from one of them. But if a new coach comes in, that means there's an entirely new coaching staff. Might not be a bad idea to have someone like Scott Perry around who is a sense of consistency and stability for the players. He drafted a lot of these players. He signed a lot of these players. Okay, let him keep that relationship going. Let him be the transitional piece that builds the relationship to Leon Rose. So to have that consistency and that stability isn't a bad idea. I know there's people that's like, this whole thing just needs to be upheaved and turned over and everybody brand new and stuff like that. There was a point where I said, you know what? The new president probably needs to just move everybody, because you don't want Scott Perry to become Herb Williams or Steve Mills. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I really am. I don't want him to become Steve Mills, right? The Steve Mills of the organization. I don't want him to become the guy that goes and talks to James Dolan and says, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. We don't want the stool pigeon. So at that time, I was like, maybe everyone needs to go. But if you remember, I said, but, Scott Perry probably deserves the chance. But he'd likely be out of there because We don't want him to become the next Steve Mills. Anyway, he's sticking around. Those are my reasons why I think it's a smart move. And a good idea by the New York Knicks. Let's hear from a couple of people, and then we're going to get on to our draft show. All right, so let me pull these guys over here, man. Right now, we got Nate the Great. We got Rob the Nick in the chat. We got some other people joining us. Isaiah's joining us. Siobhan Robinson just joined us. All right, so Rob the Nick, I'm coming to you first, man. All right,
Okay.
And let me get these guys muted. Coming to you, and then, let me know what you think real quick, because we got to get over to the next show. But tell me what you're thinking, Rob.
I think it's a good keep. As far as I'm concerned, he hasn't done a bad job since he's been there. And for the simple fact that him and Steve Mills were bumping heads anyway, let him know that he wasn't on that same page with Mills. So it's a different thinking. And like I said, I kind of liked his picks anyway. I liked where he was going in the draft. So to me, it's just fine whether he kept his job. I think it's better and it shows some type of stability for the organization that we recognize that he was doing a good job, and we're letting him stick around because he did his job. So I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Isaiah, coming to you, man. I want to know what you think. Rob, you're still live, Rob. You're still live. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Okay.
Tell me what you think, bro. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, man. You gotta have to get that fixed. I can't hear you. Nate, I'm coming to you. Give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I kind of told you, I'm kind of one of those people that believed in kind of tearing it all over. But the one thing I do take from why we kept him is what we talked about last time, Sim, about how the draft is coming up and all that, and you want to have some kind of stability in place so you can make the right moves. I think keeping Perry is basically the reason why you do that, because hold up, Sam, let me meet somebody. Because of the fact is that he's probably already been scouting. He's already been looking at players. He's already got a good idea of what they want to look at in free agency and all that. So he's already got the plan in play. And Leon Rose is like the co-owner, and Perry is the architect. So Perry's already building what I'm sure him and Leon Rose sat down and talked about what they want as a team together. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he decided to keep him. And plus, Perry's already knowledgeable with how the Knicks are run and how they're working right now. Leon Rose had no idea before he came to the Knicks. So you need a guy like Perry to kind of show you the way and say, okay, here's what's been going on. Here's what we have. Here's what we have going here. Here's what we have here. Scouts here, players. This is where players are looking at, all that. And then at the end of the day, Leon Rose, I think, is going to be the final say, because I just think he's just that type of mentality. But I think he's going to want Perry's input. But I think you got to keep a guy like that to be your kind of right-hand man as far as that knows the Knicks organization. Then he brought in that capologist from Cleveland who's going to be his right-hand man.
Right.
So, they're all going to work in conjunction with each other. So from that standpoint, it makes sense to keep a guy like Perry because he's knowledgeable with the organization. He knows what's going on. He's been the ear of the organization. Probably hasn't said a lot. And Leon Rose is going to probably want him to be more open and loud about what his feelings are. Yeah. Because he is a very quiet guy.
Yeah. All right, Isaiah, I'm going to try to come back to you now, bro. There you go. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, cool. So you know what's crazy, man? I'm seeing a lot of mixed views, but I'm actually happy with it, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't kind of see why people are negative about it, because I've seen a couple people like I'm listening to a couple podcasts. Some people are crying about it. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't understand why though. I think Scott Perry is actually a good GM. And it's crazy, Sim. It's like these people are like just harping on the bad with him, man. But every GM hits and miss. But I mean, we're gonna talk more about it. But I'm actually happy with it personally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Every GM hits and misses. He hasn't done a great job in some of the other stops, but he doesn't have to be that guy right now. It's Leon Rose. You know what I'm saying? And he's respected around the league. He's respected in the organization. I think it's a good move. We'll see what happens in a year. See if their relationship works out. and then you see what happens next year. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the Knicks just picked up that option.
Yeah, and Sim, what's crazy, man? Sim, and I know we're gonna talk more about it, but it's a year. Everybody, calm down. We didn't sign him to a multi-year. It's not, people act like it's a 3 or 4 year deal. But I personally think it's a good move. Personally,
yeah.
Some people won't, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Man. Let me come to Mark. See what Mark thinks about it. I don't know if Mark remembers, but him and I were actually having a conversation in the one stream where, and Isaiah, you're still live. In the one stream where I said I thought he was going to stick around, and Mark said, "Nah, he's out of here." What do you think about the move, Mark?
Listen, I seen it when I got up today, and I was about to get mad. And I just told myself, you know what? It's one more year to his contract, but he still has to go. I'm sorry.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
He's just he's a lie. He's a liar to me. He's a liar.
Scott is?
Yeah, Scott is a liar.
Why is Scott a liar?
Because of what happened on February before the trading deadline. He's a liar.
Here we go.
He's a part of that. I don't care.
What happened?
I mean, what happened?
Tell me what happened.
What do you mean what happened?
Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened that makes him a liar.
Hold on. He traded my guy saying that he wanted to leave and he did not want it to leave. Period. You traded a valuable asset and lied to your fans. How am I supposed to feel about that?
I'm not even going to get into that whole thing, Isaiah. I'm not even going to get into the whole thing, man. I'm not even going to get into the whole thing. I ain't even going to get into the whole thing, man.
Hold on. It's like y'all laughing, but it's facts.
I mean, I get it, but I don't think that it's just that simple. It's just not that simple.
But
bottom line, it is not that simple.
He has 1 year left. I don't really care. He's going up for 1 year.
Mark.
I'm not even mad.
Yo, Mark.
What?
Hey, Mark.
What?
Bro, I agree with you with a lot of things, bro. I really do, because you know basketball. But bro, we got to stop this notion, man. Did they lie? I know you're understanding KP side of it, but bro, you know what's crazy, bro? People actions tell you what they are. If he wanted to stay, bro, there was a lot of actions that he could have did to say he wanted to stay. KP action showed us he didn't want to be. He didn't want to stay.
How is that possible?
You know what? I'm gonna let you guys talk about that behind the scenes, man. I'll let you guys talk about that behind the scenes because I gotta get over to do this draft prospect show. So I'll let you guys discuss that behind the scenes. Siobhan and Ernesto, I'll come to you when we get to the next show. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to give a big shout out to my man, Mr. GQ NYC. Please give him a big birthday shout out in the chat. Give my man a big birthday shout out. He said, "What's up to the chat?" First of all, thank you for the super chat. It's your birthday and you're giving me a super chat. But anyway, big shout out to Mr. GQ NYC. Please give him a shout out on the chat. He said, "What's up to the chat? Peace, love, and happiness. Happy quarantine birthday to me. I'm happy to spend the rest of it with my New York Knicks fans." Mr. GQ, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you big time. And big shout out to Lonell, Florida for the super, I forgot what it's called, the eagle, the little birdie dude down there. I appreciate you, man. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going over. We'll talk about this some more. You see Mark going off. Right? Going crazy. We'll talk about this some more, but we're getting ready to break down some draft prospects. Scott Perry is going to be in charge of the draft. So he's here. He's going to be in charge of the draft. All right? So join me there right now. I got the link right here in the YouTube chat. And the link is also in the description of the video. Okay? So make sure that you join me right now as I'm heading over there. So we're going to talk about Kira Lewis Jr. We're going to talk about Cassius Winston. All right. I'm supposed to start at 10:45. It's probably going to start about 10:50 or something like that. Okay. So folks, please jump on over there. And I know I know you guys hate when I bounce you around all over the place and stuff like that. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted this to be a separate video. All right, because it's kind of a separate topic, although it does run into the draft. It's a separate topic. So I wanted it to be a separate video. All right. Anyway, head on over as we're going to break down these draft prospects. Head over there right now, and I will see you there in about 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Again, the link is in the description, and it's also here in the YouTube chat. And my people on Sportscaster, stay tuned because I'm coming back to you as well, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So I'm out. Be peaceful. I will catch you on the draft prospect, the New York Knicks draft prospect breakdown. We're going to look at 2 point guards that are late in the draft, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at Kevin Lewis Jr. and Cassius Winston. All right. So, folks, I'll catch you over there. Please don't be late. About 10:50, we'll be up and popping. All right. Peace.